tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Can we start with this song every week?
Right.
We just have to let it play out past this first part.
Yeah.
All right.
Do you like fat bottom girls?
You gonna ask me that question?
How can we not ask that question?
My goodness. Welcome everybody to another after show for the Mindy Project here at AFTERBUZZ TV, Season 4, Episode 10. I am Cameron Lewis. Sitting to my left, these two lovely ladies. Please introduce yourselves.
Hey everybody, I'm April Whisenhant. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at April Whisenhant. Also have the live link going, so let us know what you thought about the show, your favorite quotes, favorite parts, everything.
Hey guys, it's alright. I'm Linsey Miller, and you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Rockin' Mama Life.
Rockin' Mama Life.
That's a perfect Twitter and Instagram for the song, by the way.
I know, my goodness. You can follow me at The Only Camshaft, Twitter and Instagram. By the way, subscribe to the podcast. Let us know what you think of the show. Comment everything. We want the stars in iTunes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know I can't start with the end of the episode, but I'm excited to get to the end of the episode.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's been a lot of questions about where a person has been.
Where has he been? In real life. Well, I don't
With
know.
Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
What?
Hasn't he been with Ben
Is he?
Affleck? Yeah. Shooting
movies,
movies
something like
or something.
Ben Affleck?
Yeah.
Is that where every character that leaves the show goes?
They're gonna hang out with
They're all
Ben.
hanging with Ben?
Oh,
I'm about to Google that right now.
on his
Do
private
it.
chat.
All right.
Initial thoughts about tonight's episode, you guys. This week's episode.
I liked it because I think it was the redo for Peter, because we I don't know how many episodes ago it was.
I think it was
a few
two.
weeks ago.
Two. It was lame.
When he was on, none of us were super impressed. So I think it was like they're like, okay, let's try this whole Peter Prentice thing again. So, and I liked him a lot more tonight because it
I
wasn't
did
so
too.
like wah, wah.
Yeah. I liked Peter, but I have an issue with the premise for the episode, because for real, the housing market in New York City is insanity.
I know.
And she would not have trouble selling her apartment.
Oh, she wouldn't have trouble.
No, it's like a seller's market. She would have people are moving to New York City from Brooklyn because it's too expensive there. Like,
I didn't know that.
yeah, it's crazy.
You know,
This
all
is
the
news
facts.
to me.
I know.
You know, the first thing that I think of whenever I see this happen is, I'm like, hey, I'll never be able to afford a place.
No.
Whenever I see Mindy has like 4 apartments in New York City.
No.
Right.
What
She's
the
gotta
heck?
have like $700 million. It's
Well,
some
She's
OB
a
practice.
very rich doctor.
That apartment's got to be like a good $3 million or so.
The one that she's selling.
Yeah.
Yeah,
her
I think
apartment.
so.
With a huge closet and a huge bedroom.
And windows everywhere,
Yeah.
ceiling height. My God.
Yeah.
I think she's in Tribeca too, so like add a couple million to that.
Yeah, tonight's episode sponsored by the New York housing market, ladies and gentlemen. So we start the episode with Mindy multitasking in the kitchen,
Yeah.
all over the apartment, shaving
her
the
legs.
legs while
Wait,
she's cooking.
One of my favorite lines from the episode, let me scroll back up, was when she says, what is it? Oh, she has to remain a slutty anime character hot. So
Yes.
she's trying to maintain
So
that
funny.
for Danny.
It's so funny. And, you know, she's going through this whole bit about how she can do this. She can be a single mom, do
Right.
all these tasks, go to work, blah, blah, blah. And at the end, she says, you know, I really do. I can do it, but I miss Danny. She texts Danny. And he says he's not coming home till Christmas.
That is too far from now.
It's way too far.
Yes, and who knew that there were 3 different kinds of shaped
Reese's
Reese's peanut butter cups between now and then? I don't know.
That's what she
apparently.
was saying,
I was
yeah,
like, what
apparently.
holidays? I'm confused. There's a turkey one? I missed that.
I need to know. Well, there's an egg.
I knew
There's
there
the
was
classic.
an egg.
Do you think it was
Is it
Easter?
dreidel?
Let's see. There was Halloween. Probably has. They have
Oh,
little
there's a
pumpkins,
pumpkin,
right?
there's an egg, and
So
then
there's
there's
Halloween. Is there a November? There's not a Thanksgiving Reese's Pieces, right?
She mentioned a turkey. I've not seen said
Well,
turkey.
I need to see this turkey.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, Mindy.
Yeah.
Show us the
know.
gold. But yeah, this was surprising to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the only thing that kind of bothered me about this is at the end of the episode, it might be coming back. But at the moment, I was like, this is like circumstantial. Clearly, the guy had a schedule
Yeah.
that he was trying to balance, and this is why he's gone. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's classic TV. That's what we have to do in this whenever a character is shooting another show or a movie. I just really didn't know that that's what he was doing. So thank you for the news because I did not know that.
Yeah, he's been shooting movies.
I didn't even know Ben Affleck was shooting a movie right now.
I didn't even
news to
know.
me.
Yeah.
Maybe Chris Messina will talk him into doing a guest spot.
Ooh.
You
As
never
Batman?
know. Maybe. That would be amazing.
There was a guest spot tonight.
I know.
Kevin Smith.
Yes.
So Peter, as you mentioned, is back. I guess he never left New York City. He's been staying this entire time.
Right.
And he's in this meeting saying how much it sucks, which was funny.
Even though he doesn't have to be there.
It's so funny. And Mindy says she's having to hand out flyers and everything, and Peter's just in the meeting saying, I'll help out, blah, 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 blah.
And he's sad, though. He's sad. He's like, you shouldn't sell this amazing apartment.
Yeah, and that actually caused some tension later on because we hadn't, until now, I don't think, seen that Peter was not a big fan of the relationship Mindy and Danny had.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I mean,
No.
everyone's kind of like judged their relationship a little bit, but he's been, he was always supportive because Mindy needed him to be supportive, though.
Yeah.
So, everyone's like, oh, Danny and Mindy are the greatest. But that's what I liked seeing him back tonight for, is because instead of it kind of being the Danny and Mindy project, it's more like the Mindy Project and her friends again.
Yeah,
while
I can agree with that.
Of course, I miss Danny and I want him back, absolutely. But I liked seeing the whole confidant relationship come back with Peter. So
Yeah, it's more of a realistic friendship.
Yeah, I loved Peter calling her out at the end because I think, like you said, it's become the Danny and Mindy project, and you just kind of check yourself.
yeah,
What's happening here?
Yeah.
And the show, I think it's almost like check the show.
right.
It's become about her kind of
The baby,
the baby, and all
about
that.
the relationship,
which happens when you have a
Sure.
baby, but I appreciate that they're
keeping it real.
why are you selling your apartment?
Right.
All that stuff that happens, it's real.
I'm wondering, in regards to the baby, if at some point in the season, or if it'll happen later on, we get some kind of time jump.
Oh yeah,
Where the baby just
Probably.
becomes 4 years old. Do you guys think that'll happen this season, or do you think that'll happen next
Well,
season?
When we talked about it earlier, I think we talked about it earlier
Yeah.
in the season. I don't think it will because I don't think Mindy wants to age herself.
Probably.
Which, who would ultimately? But
Yeah.
but then again, maybe she would because she's like, oh, instead of a hot, well, she says 27-year-old, so she can't go out because she's 27 and has a baby. But instead of a hot 27-year-old, she's like a hot 34-year-old. So maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I don't know. I feel like there's so much juicy stuff that happens in the young ages when
Yeah.
you're new mom that I don't know if she would make that jump.
Yeah.
I don't know. They've made such huge
soon.
jumps so far, though. What do you think?
I don't know. I think I could see it happening between seasons. I hope it doesn't happen too quick, but I also don't hope the baby stays 6 months old forever either,
Yeah.
because this is gonna get a little bit tiring. It hasn't gotten to that point yet, but I do agree with you where it's nice that we're getting back to the Mindy Project, and I hope it keeps going that way. So Tamra has something going on in this episode too that she hints to in
Right?
this meeting, saying, I need somebody to cover for me, as she has every week for a while.
For the waist guy.
What the heck?
Yeah. Well, she has a secret life, which I'm not surprised by.
No.
Tamara would
No.
have a secret life and a secret
What I am
show.
surprised by is that we're actually getting to see some of it.
I know.
Yes, and I love the song. I think my favorite lyric was about missing the smell of his grandmother's house every time she walks by wet cardboard. It's just brilliant.
Mine was the gap between your teeth were filled with little lies. It was something. The line before was something about his beady eyes,
Yes.
and I love when he finally realizes it. Morgan, he's like,
Oh, it's
"Wait,
adorable.
I'm a male nurse, and I have a gap, and I have beady little eyes." And he's like, "Okay, she loves me, whatever."
And that's a big question.
Yeah. But we've been talking about that for a long time, too.
Yeah.
Like, who's going to get a love interest? We want Morgan back with someone. I actually didn't think that they were going to go the Tamara route, but
I didn't either.
maybe they will.
I think they might.
Yeah.
I love it. I think they're so awkward and weird for each other that it's like perfection.
Why it's fun, yeah. Definitely. So, meanwhile, Mindy is passing out these flyers. She goes to this exclusive club trying to pass things out, which was hilarious. She runs into Kevin Smith there.
Yeah.
Who
Second
knows
time
her,
this
apparently.
season.
Yeah. And so, I don't know how many more episodes Kevin Smith is going to be
He'll
in.
probably just pop up in a few. Every time Peter Prentice is there, maybe Kevin Smith will be there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Clearly, he's not with Ben Affleck. But so we meet this guy named James, who's a member of this club.
Exactly.
He comes in and he hears Mindy's story. My husband is gone,
Or he's with his father.
and he's with his father,
Right.
Brilliant.
which is great. And he says he'll hang up the flyer next to his what is it? Bereavement.
His
Bereavement
support
group.
Yes. Which is if your spouse died.
This is so ridiculous.
But
I love it though.
I love the context behind it. I was reading an article earlier. I think it was in Variety. I can't remember though. I'll have to look it up again. But it said that one of the best things that this show does is it takes like terrible situations that no one should ever use, and it proves how charming the show is and how charming Mindy is, because it makes you just be like, oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
Kind of. And like when Peter was like, this is worse than the time that you pretended to help out with Hurricane Katrina to get in your college alumni book or whatever. And I'm like, oh, I kind of want to have done that. But it's the same thing. Like, she's using this bereavement group to try and sell her apartment. But then again, I was kind of like, it's kind of genius if it's that difficult to sell your apartment. But now we know that it's not, so you know.
What I love about it is she's never going out of her way to find these situations.
Right.
She just kind of falls into them, and then she's like, okay.
And I could see how
Whatever.
it could happen. I mean, like, we all say stuff that gets, like, misinterpreted, and she wanted to set them straight.
Right.
But then
she didn't.
It gets hard.
homegirl wose husband was buried in her apartment was going
Right.
to give her 10% over. So, I mean...
That's what I'm saying. It's not like she didn't know that the guy was in a spousal bereavement support group or whatever it was. So whenever she's like finally realizes, then the lady's like, "Oh, let me do this. Are you gonna say no?"
Hell no.
No, I'm gonna be like, "Give me
Plus
that cash,
10%?
girl. Give me that cash."
Hell no. Are you kidding me? One of my favorite lines was in this scene, by the way. Mindy, James touches her arm. And she says, either touch my arm more or not at all. Because I am horny as hell.
Yeah.
It was so funny.
It was great.
God.
She's always horny.
There was a
him.
line later on that she said to it. I don't know why the back and forth got to me so much, but we'll get there when we get there. So Peter helps Mindy do this open house. This is where we meet Loretta, who's gonna buy the house. Says her husband's buried back home in the walls,
Right.
which is so ridiculous. And
I think
that's
that
where that
really
whole thing goes.
happened in real life.
Oh, I'm sure that it
Or
probably
no, a lady
has.
kept her husband in the freezer.
Yeah, I'm sure that both had probably happened.
There's always, like, babies in the freezer and stuff.
Oh,
People in the freezer.
it's stay away
It's a
from the
bad
freezer.
idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
principle. I just don't have
Who
one.
has a deep freezer these days anyway? Actually, we do. Never mind. I take that
Do
back.
you?
No, I don't, but my parents do. So we keep a lot of meat in our house. Not
So
human meat.
we have the open house. James invites Mindy to the bereavement group.
Mm-hmm.
She agrees to come along, and that's where Peter's confronting her, saying, "You have to fess up. You have to tell him. You have to admit that you're completely lying to this guy." Meanwhile, Tamra is singing on stage in this club with Morgan, singing that whole song that we
Right.
mentioned earlier. So.
I don't know why
Peter admits later on in the bereavement group that his wife died
Yes,
because James lets go that he works for Nike and that he's going to invite everybody to this party later on in the day.
NBA players
and
the
the
Knicks
NBA
fans.
players.
I like how so Mindy is telling him that before she's like, no, I want to say that he died. I'm going to say he was a stunt double and died on the set. He's like, who would Danny be a stunt double for? Anna Kendrick?
Yeah.
He's so tiny.
And then he steals her reason.
Exactly. And his wife died as a stunt double.
I love that whole thing happened because he said, my wife died on the set of The Intern, and then Mindy said, my husband died on Everest, and then there was that guy there who's like, I'm a professor and whatever, and I know that about these expeditions, and she's like, oh no, the set of the film Everest. And then,
He was holding a
they
boom
both
mic
died.
and the eagle.
Yeah.
And then she's
Grabbing
like,
it.
he's a tiny man.
And then she shows Loretta, and Loretta's like, oh, you poor thing, you must miss him so much. But then she gets us with the sadness again. She's like, no, I really do.
Yeah.
She misses Danny so much.
She does.
Good thing he's not flying away in the air with an eagle.
He's still with Ben Affleck though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Slash his dad.
Which is just
Is Ben
Affleck
Affleck
is his
his
dad?
Man.
Wait a second.
Wow.
Wait a second. So at the party, this is where my favorite exchange was. God, I don't know why I think this is so funny. But Mindy says, James, you know so many celebrities, because she's looking around at this guy's house, and he has so many pictures all
Tiger
over the place.
Woods.
Tiger Woods, blah, blah, blah. And she said, the closest I've ever come to meeting a celebrity is when Julianne Moore ran me over with her skateboard.
Highlight
I
of my
thought-
2012.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that was alone a funny line. And then James says, I used to date her, and then I broke up with her, and she bit me. I don't know why.
She would.
So
Julianne
funny.
Moore would buy that.
Oh my god, it's so funny.
And
then,
Apollo Ono was there, and she...
Oh, yeah.
Her favorite mixed race celebrity.
Yeah, something like that. P.S. Shout out to all the people joining us in chat right
Hey,
now.
thanks,
Let
y'all.
us know what you
Yeah.
thought.
By the way, did you all expect James to come on to Mindy?
Yeah.
I kind of did. I think there was an obvious attraction there,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
She told him she was horny.
She
Like,
did.
the
She
first three
threw it out
sentences.
there.
That's a pretty, guarantee to get somebody
I'm
That
to
something's
sad,
going
you're
down.
sad.
Yeah,
We're all
definitely.
sad.
So we get to the point. Mindy finally decides, I gotta tell him I'm lying about this whole thing.
Right.
And what was funny about this was that Peter decided to keep lying
Yeah.
to
Well, he wanted
stay
to
at
stay
the
at the
party.
I mean, I'm not below that.
I'm not surprised.
I mean,
maybe
what's
would've done
a
the same
couple
thing.
more hours?
Exactly.
Let
He's
the
gonna
party
leave
die
soon.
down.
Mindy's gonna go home, take care of Leo, stay at the party. You're fine. No one's gonna know. But
There's
then
no harm.
he also made a sign though that said, "Rest in peace,
Oh my god.
Lindsay." I forgot her name at the moment. but
Lauren.
Lauren, we
Yeah.
love you.
It comes back to bite him, by the way.
Oh yeah.
You should never do that when you're at a party. No. Just don't take pictures in general.
Or just don't make a sign. Say
Don't make
your
a
wife
sign.
is dead.
That's
Yeah.
okay. We'll
No
leave it at
need
the
for the
signs. then. No
sign.
need for the signs.
The karma's just bad.
Yeah.
So Tamara and Morgan, meanwhile, they're having their whole exchange at this club, and Tamara reveals she's singing about Morgan, but it's all just kind of like
Taylor Swift.
over-exaggerated Taylor Swift lyrics.
Right. She says she's doing it to make her more relatable. Which, if she wants to be a singer, I mean, I guess go for it.
Yeah, do you believe her?
No, she definitely
wonder-
still loves Morgan.
Right?
For sure.
Yeah.
The way she acted at the very end, whenever Colette gave her that whole speech, and she's like, Taylor Swift can do this because the people she dates are jerks. I'm like,
Oh,
Colette,
yeah.
do you know them? But she's like, Morgan doesn't have any pegs for you to knock down. He's already, freaking hilarious. Whenever Morgan was still in there, and she's like, I just did this to make myself more relatable. And he was like, well, I should have known. A perfect 10 like you wouldn't have dated a 9 like me. And he's like, 9.5. I'm like, kind of are.
Yeah, I mean, he keeps getting thinner every freaking week of
I
this
know.
show.
Yeah.
He's got to have a 6-pack by now.
Definitely.
Yeah.
We should ask Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
A couple
does
weeks.
Iron
Ben
Horse
Affleck knows
have a
everything
6-pack?
about this show. Please.
Yeah.
Actually, there is that connection because of Project Greenlight.
Oh, yeah, true.
So
Maybe
he does know if he has a 6-pack. I don't know. So yeah, I think I agree with that. I think Tamara obviously still has the feelings. She's not going to ever admit it. Even when she's admitting
she
it, I don't
said-
think it'll sound like she's admitting it.
But didn't
Yeah.
she say, she said something like, I didn't write it down. I almost never think about him all the time or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And it was like the way she said it she was pretty much saying she thinks about him all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she just did that nice thing for him by taking the blame, even though it was her fault anyway, technically. You know what I mean.
Oh yeah,
I don't know.
I love Tamara.
Tamara loves Morgan.
Guess what though? I mean, yeah, I think that there's going to be some tension. I don't mean to jump to predictions. We'll get there in a second, but I think that there's going to be another love interest that she's going to have to fight for Morgan over.
You think?
And that's what's going to decide it.
Because he had to fight for or against Ray-Ron last time. Y'all remember Ray-Ron?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yes.
So maybe the roles will be reversed this time.
It might be what it takes.
I think it might.
Yeah.
I think that's what it takes for her to be real with him. Honestly.
But he had the Julia Stiles character earlier or last season as a girlfriend, the hoarder.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
But I guess it's tough to be jealous of that situation. He just needs a super hot chick.
I forgot about that for a second.
Yeah.
I do love his relationship with Colette, though. That's starting to happen. They're like, she's like the female version of him, and they're kind of like awkward, weird little Bobbsey twins.
Yeah. Speaking of Colette, just touching on this really quickly because I wasn't here last week. Do you guys like Jody yet?
He's growing on me more and more.
Jody.
Thank you.
I did not like him until last week.
Did
and
I?
now
really?
I'm a big fan. I think
Jody.
there's a lot there.
My opinion is growing.
Yeah?
It was low, and now it's growing.
Okay. There's still hope for you yet, April.
There's hope.
So we end up the episode, Peter talking to Mindy, which, by the way, we talked about the sign, the picture, it's up on social media. His wife comes in going, what the hell? You're telling people I'm dead? And they go back to Texas. But before that happens, Peter talks to Mindy about their relationship, Mindy and Danny's relationship. Now, he says a bunch of things, all to the tune of, you do a lot of the work.
Right.
And he is not very present. Do you guys agree with him? Or do you think he's kind of judging from the outside?
I agree to a certain extent because I honestly hadn't thought of it that way until he said it. Like, okay, she is saying that she'll raise Leo Catholic and she is selling her apartment and she is doing all this stuff. But then I'm like, Danny's with his dying father.
Yeah.
So not the raising the baby Catholic and maybe selling her apartment thing, but I mean, as far as like her having to work, she wants to work. And as far as her being the only one there with him right now, it's Danny's with his dying father. So that's not necessarily something that he can help. So as far as when he was like, well, where is he then? I wanted her to be like, he's in California with his dad.
Yeah.
He's very, very sick. So
yeah, she didn't say that.
Part,
did she?
yeah. So that part, I was like, of course. I mean, why is it bad that he's not there?
Yeah.
At the moment, but otherwise, I was like, Mindy is a very like strong female character, and then whenever he listed those things, I was like, she kind of is giving up a lot for him because he makes those things sound so important, and she's like, well, I don't necessarily care, so I'll just let him decide. So I don't know.
I loved this episode and the end of it because part of why I love the Mindy Project is because they talk about stuff that's real, and I think that like as a woman who was very independent before I got married, and I definitely call the shots in my house, but I think that seeing other women and other like moms, like you give up a lot, and sometimes you don't realize it, and some people are like Peter, and they're like, I would be 300 pounds and masturbate all day long if I didn't have somebody telling me what to do, which was a brilliant, hysterical line.
Yay or nay? I'm just kidding.
But I think some people feel like they've given up something, like giving up your apartment, and I don't know. I just remember when I moved in with my husband, I was like, we had a small like 1-bedroom apartment. I literally spent time in the closet, like the walk-in closet. So I was like, I just need my own space. Yeah. This is my space. Because you just, I don't know. It's real. It's very real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel you.
I dig.
And then the song comes because Mindy calls Danny.
Yay.
You know what,
I don't know
though?
about y'all, but I'm like chills everywhere.
Oh,
like,
me too.
Sitting in my
Next week is
apartment by
gonna be
myself.
so good.
I know.
Here's the thing.
She's like, I really need you.
It better not be like somebody else's phone was ringing in the closet.
I was thinking it was
I
going to
will
be like
be
a
Peter.
Peter fake out. Like,
Right.
oh, I know that he liked the song, so da-da-da-da. But when she's like, he's back. And, but
No,
I don't
it's
know.
got to be him.
That was cool. I like how they ended with that song too.
Yeah, me too.
It's a nice little touch. Well, we got to wrap soon. Do we want to hop into predictions really quick?
Yeah.
Let's do that.
And now, your AFTERBUZZ
The lights are
TV
flashing. Predictions.
Dun, dun, dun.
I don't think Danny's going to be back.
Really?
I'll just say that's my prediction. Because he just
that's
said
devastating.
he just said that he won't be back until Christmas. But then again, I do think he's gonna be back. I change it because I think he's trying to.
That was a very fast back and forth.
Yeah, I know.
Final answer.
Final answer. He's gonna be back.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Predictions?
I think Danny's gonna be back, and I really hope that it doesn't turn into like, oh, I'm so happy you're back, and that she actually like talks about the fact that you've been gone for a long time. I've been doing all this crap by myself.
Right.
I agree with that. I think he's gonna be back. But I don't know. I think there's still gonna be a lot of learning for him to do.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna have to learn all the things Mindy's been doing and kind of play catch up on that. And I think it'll be a bit.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a bit before he gets a hold of that. That's about it, though.
Probably right.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it, gang.
Woohoo!
Another episode in the can. Tell the people where they can find you.
Y'all can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, basically everywhere at April Whisenhant.
And you can find me on Twitter, Instagram at Rockin' Mama Life.
And you can find me at the Only Camshaft Twitter and Instagram. We'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye, everybody.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Bye. See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.